everyone, and welcome to STEAM Saturday. I'm Miss Isabel, and we are so excited to have you here watching our 5th STEAM Saturday video here on YouTube. Can you believe that we've been home from school and work for almost 2 months now? This time is wild. But we really hope these videos can bring a little bit of fun and learning into your homes. Does everyone remember what STEAM stands for? Let's say it together. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Today we're going to learn about science, but more specifically, biology, or the science of living things. We're going to show you a really cool, easy science experiment that you can do with just the things you probably already have at home. But first, we'll talk a little bit about plants and how they live and breathe. Let's start off with this big word, photosynthesis. Raise your hand if you've ever heard this word before. Photosynthesis is the process that a plant goes through to use sunlight to make food from carbon dioxide, which is in the air all around us and in our water. If you look closely at the word, you'll see it starts with photo, which actually means light, and ends with synthesis, which is a word for putting things together. So, photosynthesis uses light from the sun to put together carbon dioxide and water in order to make food. Photosynthesis is basically the way that plants breathe, and if you can't complete this process, they can't survive. This is why plants need sunlight, water, and air to live. You know how when humans breathe, we take in oxygen from the air around us? Do you know what we breathe out? That's right, carbon dioxide. When plants breathe, they do the opposite. Plants take in the same carbon dioxide that we exhale, and they let out more oxygen than we can breathe. Remember that plants and animals are all alive, just in different ways, and all living things around the globe are all connected in one big ecosystem, which means that plants and people depend on each other for survival. Thinking about all this, do you think it's better for our planet to have more or less trees and plants? Comment below with your answer. Now I'm going to pass it over to Miss Dani, who's going to tell us a little more about photosynthesis.
Thanks, Miss Isabel. That was really informative. And now that we know how photosynthesis works, does anyone know what makes leaves green?
Something important to notice is that photosynthesis almost always takes place within the green part of plants, like the leaves. Flowers or berries or tree bark don't perform photosynthesis, just the leaves. This is because of a substance called chlorophyll, which has a green color. Chlorophyll is the substance in leaves that helps them absorb that sunlight that's used in photosynthesis.
So when leaves change color, that means we aren't seeing that chlorophyll, which means that the leaf is no longer performing photosynthesis. That makes sense to me because every time I see leaves that aren't green, they're either dead on the ground or ready to fall off a tree. Just to briefly reiterate, chlorophyll is the substance in leaves that makes them turn green through the act of photosynthesis. I'm gonna keep exploring out here. Let me know when it's time for the experiment. Bye!
Thanks for all the info, Dani and Isabel. My name's Miss Rebecca, and we're almost ready to do our experiment. Photosynthesis is usually an invisible process, but we have a way here to do a little science magic and make the invisible visible. For this experiment, first you'll need to find a big, living leaf from your yard. How do we know if a leaf is alive and performing photosynthesis? That's right, it should be green from the chlorophyll. You don't want to pick up a brown or yellow leaf off the ground for this. So make sure you talk to an adult before you run outside and get permission to pick one single living leaf from a tree, garden, or plant right near where you live. You want to get a big one, almost the size of your hand if you can find it. Let's pause the video and go grab a leaf, then meet back here. Here's the leaf that I found. I picked it from a plant in my garden that I'm pretty sure is a weed. Next, you're going to need to find a bowl or other dish from your kitchen that's big enough for your leaf to lay down in, and we'll cover it with water. Ideally, you want to find a clear, plastic or glass container so you can see through it. If you do use glass, remember that it can be heavy and breakable, so get an adult's permission. You'll want just enough water to completely submerge your leaf. Then, very carefully, or with help from a grown-up, carry your experiment outside and find a sunny spot for it to sit in. You may want to put a little rock on your leaf to keep it from floating up. Perfect! Now that we have everything set up, we have to wait for at least an hour. I know, it's a long time, but we have something else for you to do while you wait. Here's Mr. Daniel with a quick lesson and activity to teach us about the different parts of a leaf. I'll be right back after this to show you what happens.
Hi everyone! That's right, Miss Rebecca. Since we already learned what makes leaves green and how they help plants live and breathe, I would love to share with you all a little more information on the different parts of a leaf. First, I want to show you a really easy way to take a scientifically accurate record of a leaf. You could also turn this into a really cool art project if you want. For this, you don't need a living green leaf like in the science experiment. You could just pick one up off the ground. All you need to do is lay your leaf on a hard, flat surface and cover it with any kind of blank paper. Then, holding both the leaf and the paper, make sure you hold them still, you can color over the leaf with a pencil, crayon, or chalk. And you get to see the leaf come through. You can make a leaf rubbing like this with all different leaves, types of paper, and writing utensils. Create a leaf rubbing that's either one leaf or a bunch of different ones on a blank paper so we can look more closely and label the parts. Here's mine. I turned it into a bit of an art project using 4 different leaves that I found on the ground. You can see the 3 main parts of the leaf. The blade, which is the broad, flat part of the leaf. The veins, which are the lines that run through the blade. They carry the food and water from the leaves, helping with photosynthesis. And the petiole, which is the stalk of the leaf. If you just have one leaf, you can try labeling these parts on your drawing. What do you notice about the different kinds of leaves? I noticed that the blade can be different shapes and sizes, and that the petiole is thicker on some leaves, but thinner on others. I also noticed that even though all of the living leaves that I could see were green, they were all different shades of green. I wonder what the difference in size and appearance do for the leaves and the plants that they grow on. Maybe that's something for another STEAM Saturday. I know Miss Rebecca has been patiently waiting for hours to check on what's going on with her science experiment. So let's check back with her.
Hey everyone! It's been just about an hour and I'm back with my leaf. Remember earlier when Miss Isabel talked about photosynthesis? She said that plants take in carbon dioxide from the air around them and they put out oxygen. What we're looking for now are these little bubbles that have formed around the edges of the leaf and the bowl. These are little bubbles of oxygen that the leaf is getting rid of as it performs photosynthesis. You know how if you go swimming in a pool or a lake and you breathe out of your nose or mouth, what would happen? That's right, bubbles. You can think of these little bubbles like that. The plant is breathing out oxygen as it performs photosynthesis, and it can be seen as these little bubbles in the water. If you're excited to continue with this experiment, here's more that you can do. Take scientific record of everything you did and the results. You'll want to write down or draw pictures of everything you would need to know in order to do your experiment exactly over again. Like what kind of leaf and dish you used, how sunny and warm it is outside, how long the leaf sat, and of course, what happened. Now, try repeating the experiment again, but try to change just one detail or variable. Try to use the same kind of leaf and the same bowl, but maybe leave it out for a different length of time, or on a day where the weather's different. Maybe you want to keep everything the same except use a different kind of leaf or a different size bowl. Every time you repeat your experiment with a different variable changed, make sure you record the changes that you made and the new results. This way, you can start to hypothesize or make an educated scientific guess about the effects that all these details will have on your experiment. Wow, this was such a fun STEAM Saturday. Thank you so much for learning about leaves and photosynthesis with us. We really miss seeing you all, and we hope that you're staying safe and having fun at home. Comment below if you have a topic that you want us to cover in one of these videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on our new YouTube videos every Tuesday and Saturday. Bye!